Welcome to Discover La Jolla, where we showcase this coastal community, the jewel of San Diego, boasting boutique businesses and vibrant upscale neighborhoods. I'm your host, Valley, here with my co-host, Jim McInerney.
Hey, Valley.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
Well, La Jolla is a really, really special place.
It is.
And one of the things we talk about often is how the residents of La Jolla don't just live and enjoy all of its, magical parts of it, but they give back to make a beautiful environment.
That's so true. It's kind of makes La Jolla unique. I mean, La Jolla is certainly one of the nicest communities in California, I think, by far. But the people there love it so much. They take so much pride in it, and they volunteer their time. They give back to charities and organizations, and it's really cool to see a community care so much about their community. And you don't always find that in sort of upper, top-tier, wealthy communities.
Yeah. There was a guest we had before that we were talking about the cleanup by the beaches.
Yeah,
and
Ed Witt.
And the murals that
Enhance La Jolla.
And all those, you don't really realize how much goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, just that mural project, I think, has transformed La Jolla, where you had these big buildings, commercial buildings that have been there forever, and now artists have come in and painted, seascapes or pictures of dolphins or whales or sunsets or just art. And it's really made like La Jolla come alive, where it was just an ugly building side before, and now it's a beautiful mural. And it's really cool. They paint the garbage cans and freshen up the sidewalks, and they water plants and they hang plants. It's cool to see that.
Well, La Jolla comes alive very soon here
with
a big event coming up. And one of our guests that you brought today is a major role player in this concours.
He is, Julian.
So can you bring him out so we can...
I'll go grab him. I can't wait for you to talk to him. I want to learn more about how he actually pulls this off.
Let's see.
Let me go get him.
Julian Psaila, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm interested to learn about your role at the concours. I know that you're marked as a volunteer, but you do so much. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm on the organizing committee with Michael and all the rest of the committee members. I'm the chair of the volunteer committee. We don't really have a committee. That's basically me.
You.
But I really organize the volunteer effort for the 3-day weekend. We start about 6 months in advance of the event. And we go out and we recruit approximately 300 volunteers just for the 3-day weekend. And so we have to recruit them and organize them, manage them, train them.
And where are you finding them, or how are you advertising, or where are people learning about this in the community?
Well, we're blessed that over time we've grown a community that...
So you're having repeat?
We have a lot of repeat personnel that come back. So the gentleman that did this before me over the many years had grown the community. And then, of course, we advertise on the website. We do have people that go out to a lot of the car clubs. We go out to the Rotary Club. We seek participation from the community.
Yeah, there's so many different organizations to tap into in La Jolla.
Yes, there are.
Right?
Yes,
and I think once you're tapped into them, you really have like octopus arms to touch so many different areas.
Yes. And I've been very pleasantly surprised. And when Michael first asked me to do this job, which was not really what I was looking to do, and he said we need 300 volunteers, that was my first thought. How do you find 300 volunteers? And here we are 6 years later, and I'm with 3 weeks before the event.
And you're all booked.
And I'm all booked. I can't take any more.
So you're actually looking for volunteers for next year's event?
For next year, yes.
Wow, and so if someone in the community or outside the community wanted to volunteer, what steps do they take?
Well, the best thing to do at this point would be to wait for this running to be over. And then the website will be live probably sometime in
May
summer,
or whatever,
summertime. And then they could go to lajollaconcours.com, find the volunteer link, and just sign up for next year.
Well, is the draw that a volunteer gets to somewhat see the event take place because they're part of it?
Right.
Is that?
It's a part of it, and that's why some people do it. Some people like to come. We have a fantastic party on Friday evening. We have 800 to 1,000 people come to what I think is one of the best parties I've ever been to. And some of those volunteers like to come and work for 3 hours and then maybe enjoy the party for 2 hours. So that's
So in the past, that party's been at the lot, right?
It has.
Where is it this year?
It had moved to the lot only for a few years. It was previously on the lawn where the Concours is.
Oh, okay.
By the Cove.
Got it.
In Ellen Browning Scripps Park.
Yep.
And we moved back there last year
Okay.
after COVID. And
Perfect
it's
place
fantastic
to
'cause
be.
we have a lot of space.
Yeah,
And
It's
it's
beautiful
a
and you're on
beautiful
the ocean.
Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
that's great. So what are the different things volunteers are doing? Like, what is your team of 300? Like, what are they doing?
Well, I could probably divide the roles into car-focused roles for all the many people that join us that love classic and collectible cars. But then we have a lot of people-facing roles, and we have people there, many volunteers that don't know anything about cars, they're not even interested in cars.
They're just there to help.
They're there because it's just an amazing spectacle of a day. You know, it's a fantastic, happy day. People are dressed in their finest.
Right.
It's a fantastic place to people watch.
Right.
And it's a fantastic way to give back to the community. So those people-facing roles are hosting the hospitality suites,
Okay.
hosting the various lounges that we have. We have
Right.
lounges for VIPs, for judges, for
Helping
exhibitors.
check people in,
Check
ticket.
people in, sell tickets, helping the cars get on the field at 5 in the morning. We have 30 people doing that.
Wow.
We have another 10 people getting them all parked for the Motor Car Classic just outside the venue. And then we have people helping at the end of the day get the cars off the
Sure.
field.
Get
So-
things picked up, reorganized,
How do
cleaned up.
you decide who goes where? Do you?
Well, that was something, I guess, we changed after I took things over. We decided to make it more flexible for people to sign up what they would like to do.
Okay.
And we also presented a way for them to sign up for multiple roles. So we just sort of modified the website. So all the roles are listed there with the descriptions, and they find
Got it.
something that they like to do, and they apply. And if they seem appropriate, we'll take them on.
Are you going to be somewhat partaking in an event like a attendee, or are you going to be running around managing people?
With the
Unfortunately,
walkie-talkie.
I'm running around managing people with a walkie-talkie, and you know, that is the sad thing. I went to the show for the first time in 2018 as a member of the public, and I had an amazing time, and I thought it was just the most spectacular day. And I said to my wife,
Had you known Michael before
I had
that?
not known Michael, no.
You said to your wife what after
I
that?
said I would just love to be involved in this and help
Oh, that's cool.
put this on. It's just, I like to be associated with excellence, and
Right.
it just seemed to be so well run
Yeah.
and so fantastic. So as I told Valley before, instead of volunteering like a normal person, I went to the La Jolla Historical Society, and I asked to be introduced to the committee, and I
And
met
that's how
Michael.
you met Michael.
And I was lucky because we don't have many positions open up on the committee very often.
Right.
It just so happened that my predecessor was wanting to step back. He was
Got it.
retiring. And so he said, would you run the volunteer organization? And as I said, that wasn't really what I was looking to do. I love cars myself.
Right.
That's kind of the angle I was wanting to pursue. But I thought, well, there's a foot in the door. He probably doesn't even know this.
Well, he will at some point.
No, he will. So I said, sure. And I think he was interested in my potentially bringing corporate sort of management, organizational and leadership experience to the volunteer organization. And I think we've raised it to a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems to be getting better and bigger every year. I mean, from what I can tell.
I think so.
You know,
I'm
I've been
glad
in
you
La
feel
Jolla
that
my
way.
whole life, and I've
Yes.
been keeping track of it and participated before.
Yes.
And it just seems to get a little more refined, detailed.
I'm
He
glad you
keeps
noticed.
thinking about all the things that can go wrong or do
Right,
go
and
wrong.
ways to
and-
improve it.
Yeah.
And, I think we're always chasing the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance.
Right.
That's obviously in the United States,
Right.
the big one. We can never be that size. We don't have a field big enough
I
to
see.
have as many cars as they do. But I think we're their little sister
Yeah.
and doing as good a job, just on a smaller scale. And so I think where we're growing is we're making more of a weekend out of it, right?
Right.
It was a day.
It's
and
not
now
just a
3
Sunday.
days.
Now
Right.
it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Exactly. And now, this year, for example, Haggerty is running the Mille Miglia, the California Mille Miglia. They're starting it in San
Okay.
Diego, so there's a tie-in there. They're going to have cars exhibited or on display at our event. And so, maybe one day it'll be a week-long event, just like it
Yeah.
is in
Wow.
Car Week, like it is in Montreal.
We'll definitely need some volunteers then.
Yes.
How do you communicate with 300 volunteers?
Right.
Is it like it's not
Well,
a group, it's not a
It's a
group
group meet.
email, right?
No, so this is
Mass
actually a
text.
massive challenge these days, as we all know, right? Some people are email people,
Some are
people are phone
text,
people,
yeah.
some are text people.
Right.
So it's kind of a multi-pronged approach. And there may be a better way to do it, but we struggle with it because you really
Because
have
of
to... Exactly. Because we do send out emails. Some people get their emails, some
Some people
don't.
respond, some people don't.
That's right. So we try emails first, then we move to phones, then we move to texts.
Got it.
And of course, I do not do this by myself, so I do
Yeah.
have 16 team captains underneath me,
Wow.
some amazing people, volunteers themselves.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting paid. And some of them put in a few weeks before the event, some of them put in several months. Most of them are working. They're
Right.
not retired people. It's quite impressive, and they bring just a level of...
So when you start ramping up for the next year, you're starting like 5-6 months out?
We start about 6 months before. I guess as a committee, we start meeting in late August.
Okay.
We start getting the volunteer website ready in the summer. And then we're actively working on things probably by November, and then actively recruiting volunteers in December,
So
early December.
I was kind of curious, when is the decision made of which mark to showcase or which line of cars to showcase for the next year?
Pretty quickly. So I'm sure Michael and Bob are already thinking
Talking
about
about
that
it.
for next year, and they
Wow.
may even have the idea.
Got
They
it.
just haven't told the rest of us yet.
Got it.
Certainly by the summer. By the
Okay.
time we've met in August for the first time, that's
It's
usually
done.
decided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you enjoy cars. It's a passion of yours. What are some cars that you're interested in or have owned or,
Well, I haven't had that many cars. My problem is I fall in love with a car and I can't get rid of it. So I haven't gone through so many like some people have. But I've had some fun cars. My first car was a 1975 Fiat Spider convertible, which I had in college. I love that car. I had a Mazda RX-7 third generation, which is an exciting car. I have a BMW, a 2000 model year 2000 BMW M Coupe, which is kind of an emerging classic. But I'm really shopping for a classic Alfa Romeo, like a 1969 Alfa Romeo GTV would be something I would love to own.
Where do you go shopping for a 1969 Alfa
These days
Romeo?
it's all,
Auto Trader?
that's all online.
Yeah, online.
No, not Auto Trader, but there's
I'm
a
joking.
site, yeah, bringatrailer.com is a very popular
Really?
auction site.
Huh,
There's
okay.
several auction sites online. It's a lot of how classic cars are changing hands. these
honestly,
days.
San Diego, I think, must host a lot of classic cars. I mean, when just driving around, I see at least one a day.
There's a huge community
Yeah.
down here, yes.
You know.
Well, the weather's right for it too,
Right.
right?
It is. I mean, sadly, in the classic car world now, people aren't out driving them, sadly, too much
They're-
anymore. They're often in garages, not accumulating
Yep.
miles,
Yep.
in pristine condition.
And
And that's
protected.
protected.
Yes.
And that's what we do, though, on the Tour d'Elegance. We go and visit private collections around the county, and you'd be amazed. You go to some of these collections, and they'll open up a barn, and there's 30 cars or 100 cars. I mean,
Yeah.
That's cool.
You would
there's a
never
lot of
know.
cars here. You wouldn't necessarily know.
What cars are driving in that tour that you guys do where you end up down at the beach club?
Yes. So it's about 100 cars.
Okay.
And so a lot of them are, in fact, Concours cars.
Okay.
And I believe we follow the system where if the Concours car drives in the tour, if there's a tie on judging day, they'll get an extra point for having driven on the tour.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh.
Because it's really something to prove that your car actually drives.
Works and
It
can
doesn't
go
just
around
look
town.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And doesn't come off a trailer and
Right.
doesn't start,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
right?
Exactly.
That's classic.
So there's a lot of those, but the tour is open to anybody. So we end up with a very exciting array of classic cars.
Well, that's great. You know, Discover La Jolla, we're super excited to showcase this. We're going to put it on all the social media platforms. Certainly going to be featured in our next edition that's going out to 15,000
I'm
homes.
so glad.
And we're just excited to be part of it and really showcase it because everybody in this community needs to know about this event.
I think so. I think it brings a lot to La Jolla.
It sure
And
does.
it puts us on the world stage.
We were,
It does.
We
I
were
mean,
talking about with Michael, maybe doing a little time-lapse photography
Of
from
all the
across
prep.
the street at La Jolla Cove.
Oh, as
in
it comes
Swedes.
together?
Yeah,
That would be fantastic.
I know. We're going to see if we can pull something like that up.
Fantastic.
But we certainly will get a lot of photography and hopefully some good drone shots as well.
Yes.
And we'll be there, and hopefully
Yep.
we can bump into you. We won't.
Yeah.
We
So-
won't bother you.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
You'll,
feel free to.
you'll have
Yeah.
phones and walkie-talkies
We'll
going.
give you a
but
cold water.
yeah, we'll
and
bring
give you a thumbs
bring
up.
you a cold water. And
No, I
tell
can
you're
introduce you
doing
to
a
some
good
of the
job.
volunteers and let you see who it is that animates the show and
Yeah.
brings it to life.
I think it's fascinating that there's that many people behind the scenes.
It is. It is. I did an interview this year, or not an interview, I did a questionnaire when I asked the volunteers to sign up about why they are signing up to volunteer. I'd like to know.
Good question.
And it's interesting, 40% because they love classic and collectible cars.
Okay.
About 20% just want to give back to the La Jolla and San Diego community, which is what I thought. 20% want to support the La Jolla Historical Society, which is a
great
benefactor
Yeah.
and promoter. And then about 20% just want to help out when help is needed, which is the true volunteer spirit. We've got a lot of those people. And then there's a whole bunch of people that said all of the above, of course.
But it speaks volumes to how well this event is ran. When people have you have more than enough support. A lot of events don't have enough people that are just willing to volunteer.
Right.
So the people that are coming back, people that are already interested in signing up, I mean, doesn't that speak to?
It's pretty incredible, but again, that I think shows itself in La Jolla all the time in so many.
Right.
How many are like repeat out of the 300? Is half?
I think about 60% probably.
Yeah.
I haven't analyzed this year's
That's
crowd,
great.
but 60-70% maybe come back. So they have a good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not necessarily a relaxing day for them. And a lot of these people do sign up for multiple roles, so they're not doing that. You know, we asked earlier, are they just coming so they can see a free concours? No, because they work 4 hours in the morning and they work another 3 hours in the afternoon. And they've maybe worked on Friday and perhaps Saturday too. So they're just very dedicated, but we treat them well, I think. We provide them a nice catered lunch, and they get a volunteer cap. And I think they just enjoy engaging with the people that are there and observing the festivities.
It's not the worst place to be.
No.
It's not.
Right?
It really isn't. It's not.
Food, drink, air show, cars.
Exactly.
And we'll
Weather,
make sure the
ocean.
weather is perfect for you
Yes.
guys.
I
Yes,
know.
we will call
We're
it a
usually
favor.
blessed. Let's
Yes.
hope for that again.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Absolutely.
a pleasure having you into the studio.
It
I
was my pleasure
wish
to be
you
here.
great
Thank you,
success
sir.
I do
this
too,
year.
yeah.
Thank you.
We're excited
Thank
to
you
see
so
the
much.
show.
Thank you.
We'll have our whole team down there and
Look forward
be
to seeing you
filming
guys.
and documenting and showcasing.
I cannot wait. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for watching Discover La Jolla, where we showcase this coastal community, the jewel of San Diego. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.